News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
The Montana Public Service Commission comes down on the Liberty Utilities and Mountain Water. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It's Monday, February 1st, 2016, a brand new month. And we have a winter weather advisory till 10 o'clock this morning. Snowfall overnight could have up to 2 inches today. Light snow is falling right now. It's 25 degrees. Roads are either snow-covered or snow-packed and icy at this time. And that's going to get worse as we go. That's why the advisory. Our newscast this morning, sponsored by Nissan and Hyundai of Missoula under new management. They're offering rebates, discounts, 0% financing on a huge selection of inventory located on Brooks near Southgate Mall. Before we get to our top story, a crash involving 4 vehicles on North Reserve between Mullen and River Road backed up traffic last night. All 4 lanes of traffic were shut down for more than an hour before the icy road was reopened at about 8:15 p.m. NBC Montana reports police said a vehicle traveling south on Reserve spun out of control, creating a domino effect with other cars involved. Officials said several people were transported to St. Patrick Hospital with minor injuries. Our top story this morning, though, on Friday, the Montana Public Service Commission ruled against the Mountain Water Company and its parent company, Liberty Utilities, stating the sale was not legally authorized. Spokesman Eric Sell has details.
One was to assert their jurisdiction over the sale and transfer of Mountain Water Utility, and also to move to direct staff to go to district court to request fines against Mountain Water for proceeding with the sale and transfer without the commission's approval.
Sell said one of the options proposed by the PSC was to look into the possibility of actually unraveling the sale itself.
They voted to request that staff work with the Montana Attorney General's office to see if there are any other legal remedies that we could take to address the unauthorized sale of Mountain Water, and that could potentially include unraveling the sale, but that's all yet to be determined.
On Saturday, the presidents of both companies, Greg Sorensen of Liberty Utilities and John Kappas of Mountain Water, spoke with KGVO News about the commission's rulings. Sorensen said the PSC has no authority over the sale.
We believe that the transaction itself has closed and that Montana law is pretty clear with regard to the PSC's statutory authority, and it doesn't extend to stock transactions of essentially a grandparent company, which is what this is, of this nature.
John Kappas, president of Mountain Water, said the commission's effort to unravel the sale is a moot point.
Mountain Water Company was not sold. We are still owned by Park Water Company, and so back to the question about unraveling the ownership, we are still owned by the same company that owned us before this transaction. This transaction happened at the Western Water level. So I think the fines are tied around whether or not there was any violation in that order, and we don't believe there was.
The Montana Supreme Court will hear the necessity of public versus private ownership on April 22nd at the Denison Theater on the U of M campus. The U.S. Geological Survey reports a preliminary 4.1 magnitude earthquake in western Montana. The quake occurred about 7 o'clock Saturday morning in a sparsely populated area about 15 miles east of the small town of Lincoln. That's just northwest of Helena. The Independent Record reports while hundreds of earthquakes are recorded near Helena every year, an online search of USGS archives did not show any of equal or greater magnitude within 50 miles of Lincoln in at least a decade. By January 1st of 2017, the state of Montana's Department of Environmental Quality and a number of the state's larger cities are expected to have a new MS4 stormwater management permitting process in place. According to Water Protection Bureau Chief Dr. John Kenning, the discussion is a result of pressure from the EPA.
EPA has been under a lot of pressure throughout the 2000s to raise the bar on stormwater in some of the larger cities in the state, and that's kind of eventually trickled down to us. We were working on a new permit to satisfy some of those federal requirements. We know budget is an issue. We know a lot of other things are issues for the communities that are affected by this, so we've formed a stakeholder group that includes all of the communities.
The members of the stakeholder group include Missoula, Great Falls, and other large cities. Kenning said many of the state's cities have already had stormwater regulations for many years, and that the specifics of the new permit will likely be under debate until midsummer.
We're trying to go line by line through the old version of the permit and seeing what can be boosted. And so we talk about all kinds of topics, from what cities are already doing to what resources the state might have available to help the cities.
An engineering firm with MS4 permitting in New England says, quote, communities reviewing the draft permits predict that program costs could range from $100,000 per year to more than $1 million, depending upon municipality size and the system complexity. First Interstate Bank will be scaling back loans to the oil and gas industry as oil prices remain unstable. The Billings Gazette reports the Billings-based company announced last week that about one-third of the roughly $100 million in loans and commitments to the industry are considered high risk. CEO Kevin Riley said the bank has been lowering credit lines to the industry as they come up for renewal. Just over the past 2 weeks, 10 people have died in avalanches in the western states. Avalanche Safety Coordinator Alex Dunn says investigations performed last week show the same threat exists in many of Montana's mountain ranges.
You've got a really weak, sugary layer of snow sitting right on the ground, and then you've got the rest of the winter's snowpack sitting on top of it. And that combination with the weak layer deep in the snowpack and a denser slab on top is just a basic recipe for slab avalanches.
Montana has an avalanche warning center available at Missoula.Avalanche.org, but not all areas of the state are as lucky. According to Dunn, travelers to areas such as the Beaverhead Deer Lodge National Forest need to be extra cautious when venturing in the backcountry this time of year. After scoring the highest cumulative GPA ever, University of Montana student-athletes placed 58 athletes on the academic All-Big Sky team. Senior Associate Athletic Director Gene Geese said Friday that being placed on the academic All-Big Sky team is the ultimate honor for any student-athlete.
To be eligible to be on the list, a student-athlete has to have participated in at least half of the competitions, and they have to have achieved a cumulative GPA through the fall semester of at least a 3.20.
Guy broke down the sports that placed members on the team.
We had 20 from our soccer team, which is a very large number of student athletes. We had 15 from our football team, 10 from our volleyball team, 8 from women's cross country, which is almost the entire cross country squad, and then 5 from our men's cross country squad.
Eastern Washington had a league-high 67 selections, while Southern Utah earned 59. Montana had 58. Idaho State with 51 and Weber with 50 were the only other schools to reach that 50-member plateau. Our News Talk time now is 6:12.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Mostly cloudy to cloudy skies today with areas of light snow. Accumulations of a dusting to as much as 2 inches will be possible for the Missoula Valley. Daytime highs top out right around 30. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for Missoula's KECI 13.